I remember quite clearly going into the last couple of weeks of the summer window. I think I repeatedly stated Celtic would spend significant sums in that transfer window, and everybody should sort of calm down. So I'm not going to put myself in that same box. I'm not going to Tom McKean myself with that. But what you now look at it and you think, do you know what? Even if there is a bit of movement and there is activity and there are another couple of bodies come in, actually Celtic have I think done Martin O'Neill a bad turn simply by the fact that here we are halfway through the month, more or less, and they've not helped him out. And this is a guy who, at 73 years of age, has come back in, is prepared to do his duty in the best interest of a football club. I think he's been let down. And I look with one eye on January 25 in that game at Tynecastle. I find it incredible that Celtic haven't made some serious moves by now to give him a bit of help.
I don't disagree. I mean, I think it's not just Martin O'Neill being let down. I think, and listen, a lot of people look at Celtic supporters and go, they're entitled. They won all these titles. Why are they moaning and all that stuff? They had a bad season. But I think that they're not getting value for their own money that they're spending. The club, they're the only my club that is an analog club in a digital age. Quite what they've been doing for the last 12 months in the terms of recruitment is now as anyone's guess, because you would have thought after the window they had in August that there would be at least 3 or 4 players lined up, having been wined and dined and taken to golf courses and bought nice dinners and all that, ready to go in the door, early doors. Yeah. Quite clearly not the case now, January the 13th, and there's still no striker. It's 350 odd days since Kyogo left Celtic, and there's still not a recognised striker in the door. They brought in, and a day after the window last year, Iniacho, a barely fit Iniacho who's been barely fit, surprise, surprise. A kid from an academy in Callum Osmond, and a boy from Japan, Shin Yamada, who looks like somebody's brought their pal to five-a-sides every time he's played for Celtic. This is what they've done in 12 months. People are getting paid to do these jobs. Not, I mean, Tisdale obviously been emptied. Quite how it lasted this long, if this is the work that's been done. Quite clearly, everything's been done last month, 12 months have been in the bin. Instead of starting from scratch, back to having to rely on agents and friends to bail them out. You talk about spending money, I'm not entirely sure they will be spending big money because they've not got a manager that's going to be in place beyond the summer.
Yeah, well, even just get loan deals done, Mick. Do you know?
That's the thing. They're now looking for loan deals. But listen, what Celtic are, listen, everyone's getting all upset and worked up. Celtic fans are worked up about the title race. I think what we're seeing now is actually Celtic is beyond the title race. I mean, Celtic might blunder their way to a title because Martin O'Neill can do that. But Celtic are now falling so far behind Rangers and Hearts in terms of recruitment and structure that they've now pretty much ended their own spell of dominance. The days of Celtic running 4 or 5 year titles in a row are done now because they're now Rangers have got themselves the house in order. All right, they've a false start in the summer, but they've now got the house in order. They're investing money. They spent 40 million quid and counting since the summer. Celtic spent 13 million quid and can't even get a deal over the line. They're getting left behind. The money they had built up as reserves now going to have to be money they need to dip into to fix some of the messes they've created. They got no recruitment strategy of note, no recruitment setup of note, so that they might get by because of a manager this year and because of some experienced players. But they're actually now at the point they're facing a massive rebuild in the summer. And work that should be done now for the summer for potential qualifiers is not getting done because they're having to try and run around and scramble loan deals. I mean, what a state Celtic got themselves into. It's actually
the biggest problem. The biggest problem for that one, Mike, is that would require, in order for Celtic to I think what Rangers have done is Andrew Kavanagh, the takeover, that previous board was incapable of driving Rangers forward, right? They were a busted flush. Rangers required fundamental structural change. When Andrew Kavanagh came in, he effectively fixed the foundations. And Rangers now need to get the details right. And Andrew Kavanagh has made some mistakes along the way, but gradually he will get there. But he's fixed the fundamental issues that needed to be fixed. Celtic's fundamental issues remain unaddressed. It would require Dermot Desmond either to sell up, which he's got no intention of doing by all accounts, or for him to have a moment of clarity and want to recalibrate the whole thing. And there's no sign of that happening either. So while Rangers have fixed the foundations and are building from the ground up, Celtic are coming, they're collapsing in on themselves from the top down. And at one point, and probably at some point really soon, they're going to meet in the middle, the middle. And that, I think you're absolutely right, Michael. I think that's now, whatever happens this season, whatever miracles Martin O'Neill manages to pull off between now and the end of this season, it's the bigger picture that I think is really concerning, and why, you're right. I think there have been moments for Celtic fans, because they've spent the last couple of decades just, picking up one trophy after the next. I think there has been moments where they probably have been a little bit entitled when somebody else picks one up, that it creates, all hell breaks loose. I think I can understand the Celtic perspective on this one. They're seeing the bigger picture here, and they're seeing exactly what you're talking about. Even if Martin O'Neill manages to get to the end of the season and pick up a league and pick up a Scottish Cup into the bargain, it doesn't fix the big issues. And these issues are being addressed and have been addressed at Tynecastle and at Ibrox.
Listen, Celtic fans are sitting wearing the Told You So t-shirts right now, because the people kind of almost scoffed at the moans at the start and during the summer. And it's always because, it'll be all right in the night. Celtic always get guys in late and all that stuff. But they got them in too late. They've been signed two or three players after they're out of Europe. Not good enough. And this has been happening over a period of time. So it's been a slow-moving kind of car crash to get to this point. And people like Brendan Rodgers was flagging up last spring, saying that this Celtic squad is the dying embers of Ange Postecoglou's team. The recruitment's been appalling since he left. So it's the dying embers of a team that probably should have been emptied out last summer. And Rodgers said this last March, April. And they lost at St Johnstone, said this is probably a team that needs massive changes to get things freshened up, and people moved on, but it never happened. They get ignored, and then we know what happened after that. But this is the kind of, listen, Celtic upset with the press writing nasty things about the recruitment. Guys like Sutty pointing out from July, this is not good enough, and all of a sudden it's chickens won't come home to roost. And like you say, Martin O'Neill might help this team blunder its way over the line, but it'll be camouflage, total camouflage. And listen, speaking of that, we spoke to, obviously, Martin today was batting questions about transfers, and he was doing his best. He's basically saying that, like you say, every manager said for the last 3 or 4 windows. But we spoke to him separately as well, as we do the kind of the print stuff. And I'm telling you, I'm not being a big tease, right? But at 10:30 tonight, get onto their website and read what Martin O'Neill's told us.
Yeah,
and he's not filling MD. He's not blasting anyone in tabloid terms. It's just the questions and the answers are so illuminating about how Celtic operate behind the scenes.
Well, he did say in the broadcast, Mick, that he's discarded some of the guys that obviously that were on Paul Tisdale, Wilfred Nancy's shorting list, and he's just went like that and put big red lines through.
Yeah, but I genuinely think, Keith, this stuff we're in tonight's and in tomorrow's paper, people are going to read that a lot more. Yeah, people are going to read this. It's more meat on the bone. People read this and go, WTF?
Aye, disbelief.
Genuinely, they are. I'm not. I mean, you're like, how has Celtic managed to get themselves into this situation? But it's been over the course for years. Celtic's recruitment over years. I mean, I know that the Dermot Desmond, the structure's absolutely fine and all that stuff, but Celtic relied on big managers delivering through their own contacts. Well, it was Brendan Rodgers' first time round, had an agency he was very close with, and he got some cracking players, Scott Sinclair's and all that stuff. I suppose Cogley took control of it. He had his own guys that he used. He got in a whack of players that have lasted up to this point in time. Brendan trying it again last time round. So where is the long strategy, the kind of the data-driven and all this? We hear all the buzzwords and all that stuff and world-class performance and all that stuff. Where is it? Celtic left